Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the TMax. I vlog about language, culture, and travel. And lately I've been doing a series on teaching you all Mandarin Chinese in an effort to improve my Mandarin Chinese. And so far we've made a couple videos and it's really fun and I'm learning a lot, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a good time. And in today's video, we're gonna take a look at some random observations that I've had on the language and subsequently on the culture. Now you may recall that I did a video series last year about random observations about transportation, food, women, relationships, things like that. And I also did one on the language. And of course that video was just a few minutes long, and there are just hundreds of new things that I've learned since then as I continue to learn the language. Here we go. The written Chinese language does not have an alphabet. And so when they import things into their culture, a lot of times they have to assign characters or create words for these new products that have come into the country. For example, Toyota is Fung Tian, but if you look at a Toyota DS7, the Chinese will call it a Fung Tian DS7. And so it's really interesting how a lot of these words that have been incorporated into their culture that haven't been given value, when they write it, when they say it the way it's written for us. And this is even for the people who don't speak any English. These words that have been incorporated into their culture, they just know how to use them now. When speaking about other languages in Chinese, you can use the word you or wen. You is referred to speech, and wen generally is the written and spoken language together, like all of the language. And so for example, French can be fa you or fa wen. English can be yin yu or yin wen. Normally the word they use for Chinese would be zhong wen, but there's no such thing as zhong yu. However, another way of saying Chinese would be Han Yu, and you can say Han Wen, but nobody says that. I always say Zhong Wen. I don't know why this is the only language like that. Maybe there's others, but of all the big languages, apparently Yu and Wen is fine, except for Zhong Wen. When you're having a conversation in English, or if you're trying to spell something and somebody mishears a letters that sound the same, like T and D, for example, you can say T as in Timothy. Well, in Chinese, they have a way of clearing up miscommunications as well. For example, if somebody's speaking in a sentence and they say the word Zhuanye, somebody's like, which Zhuanye? And they say, oh, Zhuanye, the Zhuanye. And this tells them, oh, I know this word Zhuanye was a more common word, and I can just take that first character and that's the one you mean. Because in Chinese, a lot of different words have the same sound, and sometimes they have the same tone, and in context, they could both work. So sometimes you do need to clarify. And to take that a step further, if the word is super common or there's no way to distinguish it by giving an example, sometimes you hold their palm up and they'll just write the character out. So if you're on the phone, I don't know how you would do this, but in person, I've seen this many times where they're just writing and I'm like, that didn't help me at all. But apparently the native speakers get it. I recently learned an expression that I really like, that's really interesting and funny to use, in my opinion. It's 日语, and this is something that you put at the end of the sentence. For example, in English, if I want to say you're the best, you know up front that you are the only one. If I say you're one of the best, you know up front that you're not the best, you're one of them. In Chinese, you would say you're the best, and at the end of the sentence, you would say one of them. Like, oh baby, you are the best girlfriend I've ever had. One of them. Like, you don't know to the end, so the people are like, what? You're exactly what we're looking for this promotion. One of them. So that's just, I couldn't only imagine how those conversations go. So in Chinese, there is a word for the UK, but generally everybody just says Yingguo, which technically means England. But if they're referring to the UK, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say Yingguo. So I'm sure people in the UK that aren't from England probably not happy with this, but in China they're probably thinking that place is so small, we're not gonna distinguish between each individual country, it's all England. In Chinese, you make dreams. And this is also the same for French and Spanish. You would make dreams. So in English, it seems we're the only ones that have them. In English-speaking countries, we have no control over our dreams. They occur and we have them. But in Chinese, French, and Spanish, they make those dreams. They reach their dreams. They create their dreams. I like that. A few years ago, when I was quarantined in China, I did a video about the Chinese family tree, and you can check it out by clicking here or look down in the link description below. It's intense. The Chinese family tree there's just so much there. Every single relationship has a name. So my father's older brother has a different name than my father's younger brother. And my mom's brothers all have different names from each other and from my father. So you have to memorize the names of every relationship on your mother and your father's side, in addition to knowing who these people are, where they fit, and probably need to know their names on top of that. There's a lot you need to know when you're talking to your family members. In English, when you want to add emphasis to an adjective, you'll probably use the word very or super or something like that. Like, you are very pretty. But in Chinese, you just repeat the characters twice. So for example, Piao liang is pretty. And if I want to say you're very pretty, I could say 你很漂亮. But more commonly, I'd probably say 你漂漂亮亮. And so I'm just repeating those characters to add the emphasis. And of course, if you translate this back to English, it's ti, which, sounds kind of weird to us. Or 你很奇怪, you're very weird. 你奇奇怪怪, you're bizarre. If you want to say something fluctuates between two numbers, you can probably say, oh, it's about 35, 36 people there, or something like that. In Chinese, you would actually say there's 35.6. And so instead of saying 35.36, you just say 35.6. If you're not paying attention, this can be kind of confusing, but it actually, I guess, is more efficient because you already know you're in your 30s, so it's 35.6, and you can even jump numbers, so 34, 38. In most Western languages, we tend to put mom first when you say mom and dad. Most people will say, grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles. We tend to put the female first, but in Chinese, the male's name comes first, so it's actually dad, mom, and dad is baba, and mom is mama, so baba, mama. And I just did a video actually a few weeks ago where I was talking about listening to miscommunications, and this one, the first time I heard it, I just kept hearing baby mama, and I'm like, who's baby mama? And how's it two people? Good old miscommunication. Definitely check out that video. There's some interesting miscommunications in that one. And I'm noticing a lot of times in Chinese, instead of saying something direct, they'll say not something. Like in English, we say, oh, the weather's beautiful, or it's good. In Chinese, normally you say the weather's not bad, 不错. And this is for a lot of things, like, what time is it? Well, it's not early. It's late? Just say it's late. But you'll find in Chinese, they do a lot of this bu, not, whatever it is, to describe something. Oh, it's not tall, it's short. Yeah, I don't know why or what the rules are for this. So I started learning Chinese in the north of China, and so there's what's called Ar-hua. And this is where they just take the R sound, and it's actually this character, and they put it at the end of words. I don't know why, it's just part of their dialect. So, for example, a little bit in Mandarin is idian, but in the north, everybody says EDR. And if you want to eat barbecue, it's chuan, but everybody says chuar. And so, for most things, it's not a problem, but it gets really interesting when Chinese speakers start trying to speak English, and they have this Ar-hua. So for example, breakfast. You'll hear a lot of Chinese speakers say breakfast, because they just throw in this R in here randomly, and it's like, that's not, okay, I get it. Or yoga, they'll say yogurt. I'm like, do you want to do yoga or do you want to eat yogurt? And one that just really caught me off guard the first time I heard it, we were talking about, work, and you might get a bonus. And this girl just yells out, boners. Like, I want a boners. And it's like, okay, let me, do I need to explain this in this class? If this is not your first time on my channel, I'm sure you'll have seen the dozens of videos that I have done about the Chinese filler word nàge, and of course in spoken speech this can be mispronounced to sound more like an offensive word in English. I have lots of videos. Check out one of those videos. I'll put some in the link in the description below. But somebody told me this was actually born from a contraction of nàge, and just when you just say it all together really fast, it sounds closer to this offensive word. I don't know, but it's super common, and when I'm in China, it doesn't offend me at all because I just know, the meaning behind it, the intention. But it never stops being interesting. And every time I'm sharing this with friends and people who've never been to China, it's mind blowing. So one thing that I find really irritating, especially when I was living in China and you're trying to learn, and you're talking to a Chinese speaker and you say, oh, you find some characters, or you're reading a sentence, you're like, and you're speaking to them in Chinese, and you'll say, what do these two characters mean? And I want them to explain it to me in Chinese, or maybe I don't know how to say these characters. I'm reading, I'm like, oh, what are those two characters? And the default for a lot of the people that I was speaking with, is to explain it to me in English. And I'm like, oh, my whole sentence to you was in Chinese. Why would I want you to tell me in English? Like, tell me in Chinese. Try at least. Give me a chance. Like, that's how you learn. And they used to drive me crazy. Yeah, so if you're a Chinese friend and you're watching this, don't do that. When I first went to China, I taught English and I was teaching adults. And again, you know, you're just listening to the way they say things in English, and that gives you an idea of what they're trying to say in Chinese. And the word Zhuanye, this can mean a major if you're a student, and this can mean career field if you're working. And they use the same word for both these different things. And so when you're talking to people, Chinese people are explaining their career field, they might say, oh, my major is engineering. And they're trying to say is, I'm an engineer. They might have majored in something else in school. I never hear them say my career field was this in school, but major, they stick with that. If they're in school, my major is engineering. If they're out of school and they're an engineer, my major is engineering. And it's just really interesting. That helps me when I'm speaking Chinese. Okay, I'm just gonna use this word Zhuanye for both. And to follow up on that, when you're in your first year of high school or university, we say this is your freshman year. That's the only time we use this expression. Well, Chinese people use this also for their first year of work when, you know, the way they're thinking, it's my first year. So like, oh, it's my freshman year at this job. And it's cute. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. We don't say it like that, but I guess we totally get it, right? It's just those kinds of fun things that I like hearing and learning about when I'm learning new languages. And earlier I mentioned a lot of times they import English words or especially acronyms, but sometimes actual words or names that can't be translated or they didn't want to translate. They'll import them into the culture and they'll use them like regular names. It's funny though, when you see these on signs, they misspell this stuff. And I know it's not your language or whatever, but there's so many native English speakers in China. Like nobody could have proofread this. How am I seeing so many misspellings on marketing materials, on official government signs? I mean, being an English teacher for a while just really got me like my OCD on like proofreading and grammar. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. Like somebody fix this misspelling, please. I also did another video about the crazy translations and mistakes that you get from Google or the Chinese translators. Check out that video here, also in the description. There's gonna be a lot of videos for you to check out after this. So yeah, get ready for a deep dive. Yeah, so sometimes you just get these really interesting, crazy translations and you're like, I know this can't be right, especially if you're in the middle of a conversation and there's apps where you can like do live translation, and so you're talking to somebody and it translates and you have no idea if their translation is right or not because you don't speak that language. But when it comes back to you and they say something completely unrelated to what you're talking about, like, okay, so either we're talking about something different or this translator is completely wrong and it's probably the translator's fault. All right, so that's my list of just completely random observations about the language and subsequently the culture. Let me know which one you thought was interesting, which ones you've heard of, which ones you've never heard of. Put some comments below of things that you've seen that or heard that I didn't mention. And yeah, we will meet again in another video because I'm gonna keep learning, so I'm gonna keep teaching you. And yeah, jiayo, let's keep it going. See ya.
Well, today's video was really good.
Really?
Yeah, you did really good with your explanations and even your tones were pretty solid.
Okay. Where's the hidden camera? Am I being punked?
I don't think punked is a thing anymore, but I'm being serious. You did really good.
Mm-hmm.